So this has been requested for a while. This is the New Kids Attack tier list for South Park the Fracture Butthole. Yeah, so I'm gonna rank every single attack that we have in the game, as well as the ultimates, but they're gonna be in separate lists. I don't want to mix both of them because I don't think it makes sense to compare a regular move to an ultimate and put them in the same tier list, you know? So we're gonna have them separate. But yeah, so we're gonna start with the normal moves, and we're gonna move on to the ultimates after that. We'll go from the first class all the way to the last. I ordered them that way so that we can make it, not chaotic and have, one class at a time. So yeah, let's get started. This move, the first speedster move, one of the first moves we can get in the game. This lets you go through enemies and kick them back. This is a reverse knockback, and for being one of the first moves in the game, it's actually really good. Like, it's a move that lets you move around because you can go through enemies, which is something that you cannot do unless you're using a move that lets you do it. And then you kick them backwards. And knockback in this game is really strong, especially if you build up your artifacts to increase the knockback damage. You can essentially one-shot enemies if you know what you're doing. It's really powerful. And yeah, this has no recharge, free knockback, lets you move around. It's just a really, really good move in general. Highly recommend it. This is the other speedster move. This is basically the same as Fast Pass second move, like you just attack from like one square of distance. It's not very good. I don't think it's really useful. I wouldn't say it's completely useless, I don't know. But yeah, I wouldn't use this move. I don't think it's good. I really don't see the point. Like, moves that only do damage and have no status effect or knockback or anything, they don't tend to be very useful. You have only 3 moves, so you have to choose them wisely. So yeah, don't recommend this one. Oh, then we have Double Edge. Double Edge essentially lets you move twice during the same turn, but your next turn is gonna take longer to come by. This makes you pretty vulnerable during this time. However, there is a cheese that you can do with Double Edge, and that you use Time Fart Summon, and your summon uses Double Edge to have twice as many turns, because normally your summon has 3 turns before they expire, but then with Double Edge you can make them attack 3 times, so they stick around for longer, and then your Time Fart can actually come back, and then you can have 2 summons at the same time, and then it just becomes ridiculous. So no, this move is definitely S tier, especially if you're using Time Fart Summon. If you're not, probably not S tier, but I'm assuming that you are using everything at your disposal. So yeah, with Time Fart Summon, this move is essentially the best move in the game. There's just no reason to not use it. It's really powerful. Lets you, like, being able to do 2 attacks in the same turn is just completely insane. This move does a lot of damage. This is the first Brutalist move, and it has a lot of knockback. This is one of the highest single target damaging moves in the game, and for that, I think it's okay. But it doesn't have a lot of utility. Like, it's just a move that you attack in front of you. The range is absolutely terrible. But yeah, the damage is good, and it has knockback, so it's okay. I really don't think it's very useful once you have access to everything. But, it has its uses. Don't think it's useless. This is a charge move. Lets you get around a little bit, but it's not like this one. Like, you don't go through the enemies, you just charge at them, and then you're super vulnerable. This is definitely less useful than this move right there. It's not that bad though. It has a bit of mobility, so I'll put it in D. I don't think it's... I really don't think it's very useful, but I can see it being more useful than this. This is a pretty good move. This lets you gross out up to 4 targets around you in a cross-like patterns, and it has knockback as well. So yeah, pretty good move. Don't think it's amazing, but it's pretty good. Especially if you're doing a status effect build and you're not planning to using Mosquito. Well, yeah, that's pretty good. This move, the first blaster move, this just inflicts a burn on an enemy. It's not very good. But this is the only move that you have that burns, that isn't an ultimate. And for that it has a niche, but it's not very good. Burn isn't a very good status effect in this game, and if you want to spread burn, you're probably better off using Henrietta. So yeah, not very good. Heatwave has knockback, which is, you know, really good. But the range isn't very good. Like it's 3 squares. The damage is kind of bad. I don't really see much use in this move, honestly. I don't think it's... Is it really that bad? I don't think it's that bad. But yeah, Blaster is not a very good class, just a heads up. This pierces through enemies and has decent range. But that's it, it only does damage. For the range, I'll put it D. Don't think it's terrible, but yeah. Blaster is just not a good class. It's definitely one of the weakest classes in the game because it doesn't have anything that's really good. Like, most of the classes have at least one move that's really good, but Blaster just doesn't. Like, even Brutalist, which is not very good as well, has this, which is pretty good. Elementalist, now, this is a good class. Like, we got Speedster, which was really, really good, and now Elementalist, it's another one of those really good class. Unfortunately, we have the worst move right off the bat for Elementalist. This is a range attack that does a little bit of damage. It's not very good. Moving on. Now this move is a chill move. Chill is a very strong status effect because you can make the enemy skip their turn. It's pretty useful. It's a very good move. Do I put it A tier? Actually, I think I do, because this is the only chill move that you have other than an ultimate. Yeah, and other than that, the only way you can chill is with Tweak. So this is a very useful move. This is a move that's very, very, very unique. Yeah, no, this is a really good move. This heal and cleanses. It's a good move. The problem is that there's another move that's better than it, and you also have a Henrietta, which can do the same. She doesn't heal while cleansing, but she puts a shield, so it's pretty similar. It's a good move though. Like, I put it C. It's okay, but I wouldn't really use it because there's just better options. But it's not a bad move. Like, it's good. It's a good move. I'll keep it in C. So this is a better version of this. Has the same range, has less damage, but it has, on top of the knockback, it implies shock, and shock is the best DOT in the game. It's the best damage over time, so definitely a strong move. So B tier for it. I think it's better than this. Fatal Attraction is an interesting move. It lets you pull enemies towards you, essentially reverse knockbacking them. It's really useful actually. I found this move pretty good. I don't think it's one of the best knockback moves that you can have, but it's definitely different. And if you're not going full brutalist with your knockback stuff, this is a pretty good choice. Definitely better than this. This is a taunt. Taunts in this game, or move that just enrage the enemy, whatever you want to call them, they are S tier. 100%. It makes the target unable to do anything unless they can target the person that was enraging them for 3 turns. And on the turn that they get enraged, the person just gets a block, so they can't even damage them on that turn. So they're guaranteed to waste a turn, and then if you know what you're doing, you can waste the other 2 turns. It's absolutely insane. And yeah, and if you combine that with Craig and Call Girl, you can essentially just make enemies. You can turn them into your puppets, and it's really insane. So yeah, 100% S tier. If you know what you're doing, the taunts are just really broken. Now we have psychic moves. This gives a shield. Now this is a good move and would be higher than C tier. However, we have this move right here, Dire Shroud, which does the same thing but also repels regen and also can target enemies to attack them. So it kind of loses its effect, like its viability, once you have the DLC. But saying that this is not a good move would be highly mistaken. It's kind of like this one. So it's a good move, but you're probably better off using Dire Shroud. This is the only confuse move that you have. And its confusion isn't very reliable, so it's not as good as Chill, but it's definitely good. You can make enemies attack their teammates, and that's wasting their turn and making free damage for you, so it's pretty useful. Also, it has really good range. This is an interesting attack. It attacks in an X pattern and applies defense down, so it's pretty good. Like, I would say it's one of the most useful brains moves to deal damage. Because if you want to deal damage with brains, it's not as good as brawn at dealing damage, but brains have more status effects, which is pretty useful. And defense down is definitely very strong. So I would say that this goes in B tier. I think it's one of the best damaging brains move that you have. Interesting range as well, so yeah, you can attack from a distance with that and apply defense down. It's pretty useful. This move has horrible range and attacks one enemy, does almost no damage, and inflicts bleed, which is the worst damage over time in the game because it does almost no damage. This is F tier. This is absolutely awful, and I will never use this move. It's really garbage. This is better, has better range, and can apply bleed to multiple enemies, but it's still garbage. It's not F tier because it applies multiple enemies bleed, but if you want to apply bleed to multiple enemies, you're gonna use Root Burst, which we're gonna talk about in a little bit. And if you want to attack in that pattern and apply status effects, why are you not doing Gross Out? This is way better than this. Now, Shadow Swap is a good move. That one is good. It lets you protect your new kid for a little while, and you can swap with the foe. I don't think it's quite B tier though. Even though it's one of the few moves, like it's your only regular move that can turn you invisible, which is pretty useful. I don't think it's very useful. It's not a move that will be useful in a lot of situations, but it's definitely useful. It's definitely a unique move, and I think it's good enough. So C tier, you know, it's okay. This is Boom Buddy. Has anyone ever used Boom Buddy? Um, I don't know what's the point of this move. I really don't get it. It's, if anyone has used Boom Buddy in their build effectively, and you know it's good at anything, please let me know, because I just can't find a use for this move. It's so useless, and I've not seen footage of anyone using it. It's essentially the most forgettable move in the game. It just doesn't exist. What's this move? This is the same turret that you can put as Tupperware. Turrets are decent at wasting time, but I wouldn't put this on my new kit. I don't think it's a very useful move. The turret doesn't do a lot of damage, and the range isn't very good, and you know, but it can waste enemies' turn that want to target the turret, so that's good for that. But if you want to waste enemy turns, you're probably better off using Chill, Confusion, or Charm. So yeah, not excellent, but not horrible. This move spreads shock. Pretty good, honestly. It's not the same range, exact same range as Tweak, so it has an edge over that. I would prefer to use Tweak to spread shock, but shock is amazing. And if you don't want to use Tweak for some reason, this is definitely a great alternative. This move is amazing. Lets you heal everyone around you, cleanse them, and gives attack up. It's absolutely amazing. But it has a long cooldown, so I'm not. I almost want to put it S tier, but I don't think it is. You have a lot of support options, but man, it's so good. But this is also really good, and this as well, so I think A tier is fair, but it's definitely very strong. Charm is good, but the range on this move is pretty bad. And sometimes Charm can go against you because you cannot target the enemy anymore. It's not like Confusion. It limits you a little bit, but it's definitely more reliable than Confusion, so I'll put it B tier. I don't think it's as good as Chill. Chill is just, you are sure that this person is not doing anything on their next turn. And, you know, I just think Chill is really reliable. It's all you need, basically. Oh boy, this move is really good. This is a really good move. The damage isn't very high, but you inflict bleeding on pretty much everyone, and you have knockback on this move, so yeah, you can just push enemies back over and over. The range is insane. So yeah, this is such a good move. I don't think it's S tier. Like, these two are just kind of game breaking, but yeah, this is absolutely insane. Very, very good move. Martial Artist. We have the Dragon. Is it Dragon Punch or Dragon Fist? It's kind of like this move, but it does even more damage, but it has a cooldown. So it's kind of like a drawback that you have to have something that's better and something that's worse. So I would put it C tier as well. I think it's okay. It's a good move, but I wouldn't use it very much. I don't think it's amazing because of the cooldown. Also, the range isn't very good. This attacks everyone around you, but it has no other effect. But the range is good. And the damage is pretty good as well, so I'm not quite gonna put it E tier. I think D tier is it's as low as it should get. It's okay. This is definitely the best move in Martial Artist. Very good damage, slow, reverse knockback, defense down. Who cares if it has a cooldown? This is amazing. Downright amazing move. If you're going for a full knockback build, you could use it with this one to have, you know, a move that you can spam, and you have this whenever it's back, you can just abuse the fuck out of this move because it's amazing. Definitely up there. Then we have the DLC moves. This has really good range and has knockback in front of you. Honestly, for the range alone, I think it's B tier. For the range alone, it's a really, really good move. One of the best knockback moves for sure that you have. This has decent range, and then it spreads around the enemies around them, but it has no other effect. It's kind of like this move. It does good damage, but has nothing else. And it's only when the enemies are close together, instead of around you. So yeah, I think D tier is fair enough. Don't think it's amazing. I would rather use Root Burst if I want to do a massive AoE. And we have Tower Shroud, which I think is the best move in Neverborn. It just has so much utility. It's essentially a support move that can also act as an attacking move. So if you're going full support and you have this move, you still have this move to attack and finish off someone, or just apply defense down. Yeah, so shield, regen, as well as attack and defense down on this move. It's just so versatile. It's just a really good move. If you're going full spunk, this is definitely one of those moves that I would pick. Okay, this has good range and applies knockback and bleed. I would put it C tier. I don't think it's amazing, but you know, it's kind of like these moves. It has good knockback and, you know, bleed. Not bad. Good range as well. It's a decent move. Now this is great. Hemorrhage is an amazing status effect, and you can just stack it up over and over and does so much damage. If you go in status effect, highly recommend going for Saw Blades. Very good move. And then when we have the last move in the game, Hammer Bomb, we save the best for last because it's S tier. Hammer Bomb lets you choose your knockback direction, so you can knock back enemies into yourself, you can knock back them away, you can knock them back into the Saw Blades. It has so much utility. The range is amazing because you can essentially just target the enemy and then move again to just get out of the way. It's very safe to use, it's very spammable. It's an absolutely amazing move. I 100% think it's basically the best move in the game. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, those were the attacks. So let's go to the ultimates. So this is gonna be a lot shorter. This move, the Speedster ultimate does a crap ton of damage and inflicts knockback, but the range is awful. C or D? I think C is fair. If you're going knockback and you want a damage ultimate, it's definitely a good one. That's, you know, knockback, and it can essentially deal the most single target damage because of the knockback. And because of that, I think this move right here, the Brutalis ultimate, is crap. There's no reason to use this one over this one, because I know this does more damage, but this has knockback, like I said, so you can essentially make use of this ultimate way more than this. This just does damage to one enemy. That's it, has no other side effect. This does almost no damage, but the range is decent. It applies burn and gross out. It's okay. Don't think it's amazing. I wouldn't use this as my ultimate a whole lot, but it's okay. If you're going full status effect, maybe, but I would much rather use something else, honestly. I think Dragon Swagger or the Psychic one are better than this if you're doing status effect. Now this one is really good. You apply Chill and Shock to a massive AoE. It's absolutely amazing. Don't think it's one of the best ultimates in the game, but it's definitely very good. It's up there. It's definitely very, very strong. This does damage, but the range is better than this, so we'll put it here. And yeah, it does damage. It's not very good. Moving on. Hot take. This is S tier. This is the most spammable ultimate in the game. You can spam this move and keep your teammates healed and have a shield on them over and over. It is extremely useful in the hardest battles that you can have. Extremely spammable move. It's just a very, very, very good support. Whenever the ultimate is ready, you're like, alright, free heal, free shields, easy. It's very good. If you're some of my videos, you definitely saw me spam the crap out of this move. I think it's amazing. The assassin ultimate is pretty good, honestly. I would put it B tier because it does a lot of damage to one target. It inflicts bleed on them, and the kicker is that you're invisible after that, so you are completely safe. So it's also pretty spammable. I don't think it's as useful, but it's definitely... I think it's my favorite straight up damage ultimate. It's very strong. This is better than this for one reason and one reason only. This is a Brains move. This is the best Brains ultimate if you want to go for a straight up damage and you're just building your character around Brains. So I think it has more viability than this for that reason and that reason alone, because those are just brown and are better than this and this. But the only two Brains ultimate that it has to compete with are status effect ones, so it has more utility than these two. It's definitely more viable, but it's not very good still. I used to think this was the best ultimate in the game. It has dropped quite a bit for me, but still A tier. Still think that being able to revive allies is very strong in a no item challenge, which is something that you definitely should do, because if you're using items, this game is just so easy, it becomes so boring. I don't think, even in my first playthrough, I was not using items because it's just free win. Why would you do that? This is broken. Straight up broken. Easily one of the best ultimates in the game. Taunt on everyone, and then you can just put your new kid in the corner and have them just get knocked back over and over so they can't reach the new kid, or take massive status effects and just waste their turn as they're taking those status effect damage. It's just... oh, this move is so disgusting. It's so disgusting. This is great. This is a pretty good one. However, I think I'm gonna drop it B tier actually. For a few reasons. I know it has AoE chill around you, and chill is amazing, and it lets you get powered up for 3 turns, which is great. But here's a kicker. You are locked into Netherborn only for those 3 turns. And that can be a huge problem, because if you need one of the 3 moves that you had in your build, and it's not there anymore for those 3 turns, that's a massive bummer. So that's a big downside. Even though you're really powerful during those 3 turns, it's just... you're locked into those moves. I think that's a big problem. But saying that it's bad would definitely be very wrong, so B tier is the bare minimum that it needs to be. And this is S tier as well. The Final Girl ultimate is basically the ultimate boss cheese that you have. You just need to lower down the boss HP a little bit, and then you can just inflict them this finisher, you can essentially cut down like 3k of HP on a boss with just this ultimate. Absolutely wild, very strong. So this is best used for bosses, this is best used for regular enemies, and this is the most spammable one. So these are my S tier go-to ultimates. This one is very strong as well, and this is another form of support that can be very useful if you don't really like this one for some reason. And if you want to go straight for damage, I highly recommend these two. Very good damage ones. And this is okay if you're going knockback build. I wouldn't use D, E, or F tier ultimates, really. So yeah, that's my ultimates tier list. And if you want to see my moves tier list again, here it is. Moves, ultimates. Thank you for watching. Take care.